Hey Internet, today I'm going to go through a talk I recently gave to a group I'm a part of on starting a career as a professional composer and sound designer. So it was about an hour-long talk. We went through a ton of topics, so I'm going to split the talk up into a couple different sections to make it easier for people to hone in on exactly what they're looking to learn about. So this is going to be the first video in the series, and we're going to start with talking about the gear that you need. So yeah, here you go. All right, being a professional composer and sound designer. Again, we're going to focus on everything besides the craft itself. That includes gear, that includes how to market yourself, that includes ways to organize yourself, all that sort of stuff. So, gear. What do I need to start? First of all, lots of sounds and sample libraries. If you are a composer, part of what people are getting when they're working with you are the tools that you have available to you, as in the instruments that you know how to play or the sample libraries that you have. I have a couple brands and companies right there that make fantastic products. As a sound designer, one of the things that people are getting when they work with you are the sounds that you have available or your ability to capture and create new sounds. So if you, again, are starting at square zero and don't have anything that you've captured on your own, you should look into either purchasing sound libraries, which there are just so many different companies and different types of libraries, or you can look into purchasing membership or a type of subscription to a cloud service such as Soundly. So you just pay a monthly fee, and then you can access all the sounds that they have while your subscription is running. Additional gear. You should have a computer with lots of storage and memory. As a composer, I would suggest that to do this professionally, you need at least 32 gigabytes of RAM. Many people have 64 gigabytes, and I know a few people who have 128 gigabytes of RAM. It just takes a lot of memory to load all of your instrument libraries and have those files available so that when you push a button, the sound just plays. If you're interested in sound design, I think you can get away with 16 gigabytes of RAM. It's not as necessary it is for composing, but still, 16 gigabytes is still a pretty hefty amount of RAM for a computer at this point. You should invest in a field recorder, and I think this is true if you are interested in composing as well as sound design. I have a Tascam DR40. It's nothing particularly amazing, but if you are out and about and just hear something cool, you can come back and capture that from a musical standpoint as well as a sound design standpoint. You should invest in near-field studio monitors. Earbuds are not going to cut it. You actually have to have good speakers to accurately hear what you are creating and what you're listening to. KRK Rocket series is a good brand. I had KRK Rocket 5s. Those were my first set of near-field monitors that I picked up when I decided I wanted to do this professionally. I've moved on and moved through a couple different sets of monitors since then, but KRK Rocket 5s are a good starting option. I think to get a pair, it's maybe 200 or 250 bucks. You should invest in a MIDI controller, which for a composer makes tons of sense. You need to be able to have the piano keys in front of you and push them and make the sounds that you want, right? And be able to create chords and harmonies and melodies and all that sort of stuff. It's also advantageous for sound folks as well, or sound designers, to be able to quickly throw a bunch of things together, trigger them simultaneously or slightly offset, and to just quickly test out how things react when you mix them together. So I would still suggest getting a MIDI controller, even if you're not a composer. And then lastly, the DAW of choice, or the digital audio workstation of choice, the software that you use to create sound and or write and produce music. There's no DAW that I would recommend as the one that you should use. I think it's very different depending on what you're trying to do and also which DAW you learned audio and music work on. People tend to find one that they like and generate their skill set in that one DAW, and then they become very, very loyal and stick with it until they get to the point where it's painfully obvious that they need to switch. So feel free to use any DAW that you want, even things like Fruity Loops and GarageBand, which have had, I guess, negative connotations with them in the past. I do not agree with any of those things. If you know how to use your tool well, you can create amazing things on any DAW. And some of the sounds that come both in Fruity Loops and GarageBand are actually really fantastic. So do not think that one DAW is necessarily better or worse than the others. It's all about how you use them. Hey Internet, this is a quick reminder that the video you just watched is one in a series on starting a career as a composer and sound designer. I created about an hour-long talk and sliced it up into different topics, so as those videos become available, be sure to check them out. If you have a question on anything, feel free to throw that in the comments, and if you'd like some game, audio, music implementation goodness in your inbox every once in a while, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Thanks so much.